Here now to weigh in on Congressman Scalise's condition and chances for full recovery is Fox News medical correspondent Dr. Marc Siegel. Is his wound, Dr. Siegel, still life-threatening?
Well, I think what Dr. Sava is saying there is, when you've had this degree of damage, organs being rent with a fragmenting bullet.
Hundreds, by the way, of fragments.
Exactly, and he also pointed out you don't have to take all of them out. You take the ones out you find. And you have arteries there, iliac artery and vein. There's so much blood in that area, and there was so much bleeding, and there's so much repairing they did, that you can't just say, you know, all's fine. There's risks of infection now when you go in repeatedly to operate in an area. Even with all the sterile equipment in the world, there's risk of infection. So I heard some things there that made me optimistic. One is that he was waking up. Because when you lose this much blood, you wonder, did the brain get... When you're in shock, David, your blood pressure's low. So did the brain get enough oxygen?
And you combine that with the anesthesics that he takes. I mean, the anesthesiologist, they said, was as important as any other doctor there.
Completely agree, especially in someone in shock, going in and out of anesthesia, going in and out of surgery. So, A, the fact that he's responding to questions is huge. B, he said he thinks he's going to walk again because no one's talked about the nerves. You know, there's a lot of nerves in there.
Even said, and let's hope and pray that this is true, he said, we fully expect him to be able to walk and run. I was surprised to hear that. Probably won't be able to run as he could before, but that's pretty hopeful.
Expect to see him back on second base next year.
Wouldn't that be great?
Seriously, because the man has shown great courage, which is another big factor in healing.
You know, I've heard you talk about that, the power of the will, even when you are under. There is something that comes from somewhere in the human body or the human spirit that has to do with how you get better. And it is a courageous instinct or impulse that you may have that goes beyond brain functioning.
And goes beyond statistics that say, hey, when you get a wound to the pelvis, you get all that bleeding and all those organs damaged, you know, the colon, the bladder, the kidneys, you know, a lot of people don't recover. Who does? Someone with that. And President Trump said a fighter. He called him a fighter. I was really glad to hear that.
By the way, it sort of reminds you of President Reagan when he was shot back in the early 1980s. He had that same desire to live, which some doctors said brought him through.
Absolutely.
His life clearly, though, will change, will it not, as a result of this?
We're going to see a lot of rehabilitation here. He's going to need more surgeries for more fractures. Time will tell how much he can resume normal daily functioning. But rehab is a big part of this, and I expect that he will recover.